Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well as we get into a double upload day. Yes, and I have to say, it's not the easiest thing to do right now because hence why there was no video yesterday. Nothing happened, right? Nothing that was substantial enough. But I feel like today we've got quite a lot of a football day, because there are the internationals happening later tonight, so make sure you're here later. England are playing tonight as well. After that's all said and done, I will be giving a video, and I will give my thoughts on England as well, and their performance, and depending if they win or they don't, I'm expecting them to win. Surely we win. But, that will be the second video. This is number one, so subscribe, notification bell on. We're going to dip into a couple of the things that were popping around yesterday, and as a result of the internationals that did go down, because a few Chelsea boys were playing, so we're going to get into that. Starting off with the latest on Raheem Sterling. It's just a nuisance, isn't it? Here it is. There appears to be a reluctance from Chelsea. £30 million remaining on contract to pay Sterling up. And Sterling appears reluctant to give Chelsea an easy route out of their agreement. Goes on to say, sources have indicated that the emphasis was on the club to present opportunities to Sterling, given the clear intention to move him on during the transfer window. On top of this, we have Chelsea respect Sterling's position and our understanding of his reluctance to uproot his family for the second time in 3 years, but Chelsea felt his wages limited the options they could present to Sterling. So this is no surprise, right? And I think based on his salary, were there even any clubs interested in the first place? Because we have to remember, we didn't really hear a link. The only link that we heard was Fulham. And Fulham are not paying a player 300k a week. It's not happening. So I don't know if, were there clubs maybe looking and going, no, you know what, we would take him, but we can't pay all of that salary. You're going to have to help us out with that one. Maybe even half. Maybe more than half of his salary would have to be paid by Chelsea. Why? Because 325k a week, when you divide that just into two, in and of itself, that's 162,500. Quick maths. You know? Hey, I was 3 marks away from a GCSE A in maths, by the way. 3 marks away from an A, just saying. But even then, say 160k. Fulham are not paying 160k to Sterling. Which club is going to pay even 160k, and that's half of his salary, to Sterling? This is why I'm saying, okay, was there even a club interested? Like, is it this difficult to get rid, basically? Yes, unfortunately, it is this difficult to get rid of Sterling because of this high salary, which I think now you have two sides of the coin. Shout out, Miz, right? The two sides of the coin, if you have a player that is just undoubtedly top tier, and you know you have to pay a top salary, it's one of those things you're like, look, we do it because look at the quality of the player. The other side of the coin is that if a player like that doesn't work out, who's getting paid 320k a week, then you have a problem. So when we look at Chelsea specifically, and I think other clubs are starting to do the same thing, but Chelsea specifically, this is, I think, the main reason as to why they want to stick to a wage policy, and they want to stick to a certain bracket in terms of salaries. They don't want to break a threshold. In some cases, I get it. I do think that in football, when there is someone undoubtedly, undeniably just top tier, and they just have to be paid good money, you can break the rule. That's the exception. But in general, many clubs are now heading in the direction of, look, we can get talent elsewhere. We can get really good players that could end up even being top players. But when we have to make sure that those are the sort of players that are happy to get paid within a certain bracket. And Chelsea, by the most part, have actually done that. This is the problem, though, when you have someone in a big salary bracket that just is of no use. Now, Sterling himself, right? Why would he want to move? Why would he? There's no reason for him to do so. He gets to sit down, do nothing, and get paid 325 grand a week. I mean, I know every single one of you's taken that. If that was you, you'll be like, yes, please. Yes, please. Well, then some people bring up well, not the opportunity, the possibility of, can his contract get terminated? Can we just come to an agreement, just end it? Sterling, I don't think would want to. Chelsea would 100% want to. But there's a contract at play. You can't just end it. It's a contract. Well, how likely is it that we can come to some sort of a termination? Well, according to Ben Jacobs, Raheem Sterling is unlikely to have his contract terminated. Of course. Of course. Because he's just happy to get paid. Chelsea are in a position right now where they would absolutely try and find a solution to terminate Sterling's contract. It's not going to happen. Because if they even did try to terminate it, Sterling could sue. Like, why? I've not done anything wrong. And it's true. He's not done anything wrong. If he's done something unprofessional, something that breaches the contract, cool. Now we've got a different situation. Hence, Mykhailo Mudryk and that possibility. Because Chelsea might actually have a right to do that. But with Sterling, no, he's just not getting picked. That's not breach of contract. And he's in the bomb squad now, just kicking a ball by himself in Cobham. Doesn't meet up with the first team. He's still getting paid. He's fulfilling his duties. He's showing up for work. He's showing up for work within the hours prescribed to him. He then goes home, and then the next day he comes back in for work, and he does the job. He does what's asked of him. You cannot terminate that contract. Unless if the player goes, look, okay, we can facilitate this, come to a settlement, and I will terminate the contract because I need to go and play football elsewhere. Even if it's for less money, I need to go elsewhere and try and find something. But if that was the case, he would have agreed to a move for less money during the transfer window where Chelsea would have been able to move him. But that's not the case. Why? Because he's getting 325 grand a week to just sit there and do nothing. You know, as I've said, who's saying no to that? And you've got to remember, he's not in his 20s. He's in the back end of his career now. I mean, he's just going to try and milk it 100%. So listen, my final solution to all of this, right, is just as it was for Disasi. Habibi, Saudi. Saudi. Listen, how many days have we got left of Saudi? We got, what's the date? All right, we've got 4 days left of the Saudi window open. Yeah? Can we get any Habibi to come in and buy Sterling, please? And then just keep him on the same money, or maybe just a little less. He might accept. I don't know. But get him to play some football, please. Someone come in for the brother. We've got 4 days. If not, he's stuck with us for the rest of the season. And we're just going to have to keep paying him. So, what should we do? Let me know down below. And let me know what you think on this whole scenario with Raheem Sterling. And where do you think everyone stands? Who's to blame? Who's not to blame? Let me know. Now, according to The Athletic, one of the strikers that we brought in to fill in the gap has been observed by Enzo Maresca. What does Maresca think? Here it is. So Enzo Maresca appreciates the intensity, hunger and passion Marc Guiu puts into training sessions and games. The significance of this should not be ignored. Maresca dropped several players last season for not doing enough. And at face value, that sounds absolutely correct. You know, players are not giving their all, they're not giving enough. You're not good enough, bye. End of story. But nice to hear. Nice to hear. If this is the case and Marc Guiu is doing this in training, then happy days. Marc Guiu, for me, do not sleep on Marc Guiu. Do not sleep on Marc Guiu. I do think that he's raw and he needs developing, but do not sleep on him. The first few times we saw Marc Guiu, you can see that what needs to be in a striker, I feel like he has. He's got a great background. Barcelona, grew up at La Masia. I mean, he's gone through some top tier academy training. Comes to Chelsea, the few games he plays, we see him play. You see the way that he plays. There is something in there for me in a striker. The one thing that I need to see in a striker immediately, I think he actually has instinct. I think he's got instinct, right? Gets the ball immediately. He's already his mind and body clicks into what he knows he needs to do in that split second without hesitation. I feel like he's got that, but he needs development. He needs to grow, and you can't just throw him into top-end Premier League football because he could get eaten up. We're talking physically, we're talking mentally, we're talking those things. You need development. So as long as he's putting his head down and he's working hard and he's training and he's giving his all, Maresca sees that, he appreciates it, cool. Let's see how far Maresca can push him. Let's see how much Maresca can get out of him. And when we do call upon him in the season, because we're going to have to, João Pedro cannot play every game, then hopefully he steps up to the plate. Let's wait and see how that one goes. But good to hear so far. Let me know your thoughts. Now, another youngster who impressed, but this time on international duty, is none other than... And this, what I'm about to show you now is going to hit home for a lot of you. And why? I don't need to explain. It speaks for itself. The UEFA Champions League page, showing the picture from Brazil duty of Chelsea's double duo. Chelsea's Joga Bonito. Chelsea's Brazilian Bombers. João Pedro, Estevao Willian. Fantastic. And they had a really good... They won 3-0. I think they beat Chile. But... These two together, and I want to throw Andre Santos in there as well if I can. But these two together for club and country, I think like there could be something cooking really, really mad here. It's nice to see the Champions League page though, just pay homage to two Chelsea lads on international duty. We've not seen that in quite a long time. Quite a long time. So very nice to see from these two. And yeah, Estevao with the bicycle kick from 2 yards out. I mean, who does that? Well, he does, because he's Estevao Willian. End of story. And he plays for Chelsea Football Club. That's why he does it. So, that's that. Talking about Estevao, let me give you some stats. We don't normally do stats on here, but we like this one because, again, this speaks for itself. Estevao became Brazil's second youngest ever goal scorer in a competitive match last night since Pelé in 1958. Ronaldinho is fourth. So that 2-yard out bicycle kick, if you haven't seen it, go and see it. But basically, the ball comes into the box. It's literally, it looks like it's dropping in. It might not have actually gone in, but it comes across the goal. And he's literally 2 yards out from the line. And he just bicycle kicks it into the... And you're thinking, what, you could have just tapped it with your head. He's like, no, I am Brazilian. I need samba and flair and joga bonito. And we got to do this with all sorts of elegance. So... bicycle kick from 2 yards out. No one does that. He does because he's Estevao. But second youngest ever goal scorer in a competitive match for Brazil. So for club and for country, this boy is setting levels. And I hope he just continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. Fingers crossed. Now, can he grow to the point that I feel like all of us have in the back of our heads can be achieved? I hope so. But here... is what it means if he does. Chelsea's deal for Estevao includes a special Ballon d'Or clause with Palmeiras set for a bonus if the Brazilian wins the award as part of the €65 million package. Palmeiras knew what they had on their hands. They knew. And they're like, nah, we're selling him. Yeah, but listen, if this boy wins the Ballon d'Or, we need a piece of the pie because we made him. Correctly so. Correctly so. It's deserved. This is a fair clause. Something good to have. And you know what? I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say it now on September 6th, 2025. Estevao will win the Ballon d'Or at some point in his career. Not to say that's happening next year. No. At some point, let the boy grow. Let him take his time. But at some point, he will win the Ballon d'Or. That's just my prediction. Right? Because even right now, he doesn't look like someone who needs to grow. He looks like someone who's kind of already there, but we know he needs to grow. Like, we know it's not fair to just expect so much of him at this age right now. In the same way that I think many people are doing with Lamine Yamal. And don't get me wrong, Lamine Yamal is also someone that I think will win the Ballon d'Or. Maybe very soon. But you see Lamine Yamal and the expectation from him, and how everyone is like super reliant on him already. I don't think that's good for him. But I feel like he can pull it off. He's got enough talent. With Estevao, it's not that. It's like everyone's actually giving him some space. And everyone's giving him a breather. But even with that, he's thriving. It's like he's in his natural element. It's like he doesn't need to try. He already seems so mature for his age. I don't want to interrupt that. Just let him keep going. But if he does keep going, I think he will get a Ballon d'Or. So let's see how it all pans out. But do you think Estevao will win a Ballon d'Or? Let me know down below, because I really want to know if you think he will or he won't. Let me know. Now, We spoke about Santos a few days ago. He's now actually come out and spoken for himself in relation to what happened with Saudi. Here it is. He says, yes, the proposal from Arabia arrived. From Arabia. Flipping out. This guy's seen the map from like the year 1830. From the land of Arabia. Right? I can see Lawrence in the distance. Anyway, if you get that, you get that. If you're old enough. Here it is. The proposal from Arabia arrived and I immediately refused because of my dream and main goal, which is the World Cup. I know that being in Chelsea and the Premier League, the chances are greater than in Saudi Arabia. I saw some people say that this was like, okay, he's using Chelsea to just fulfill his international dream. But he's got to play for someone. Do you know what I mean? No. He plays for club and absolutely, he's absolutely correct to have that ambition for himself, for his country. People have to understand as well, and I think this is predominantly an English thing, and this is why I have a problem with the way that many people in England think of themselves nationally. But many countries across the world have a sense of pride, and people have the sense of, you know, pride in where they're from, and they want to fulfill its country before club. For many, 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 many players across the world, their country comes first, 100%. The club is a job. Their country is their duty. That's how they see it. And I think in England we should see it the same, but many people don't because they just don't feel that sense of pride in being English, which is weird. Find it weird. You know, I think before it existed, yes. I think if you went back into the 90s, for example, you try and talk to Gaza, or you try and talk to Gary Lineker, or you try and talk to Beckham, or you try and talk to whoever, go back to those generations and you tell them, listen, who would you have put first, your club or your country? They all would have said my country. Hands down. But we've entered the time where it's like, oh no, the club comes first. You go to any other country, especially, now I'm going to say this properly because I know it's fact. You go to like South American countries, African countries, I know this for a fact, they will tell you, yes, I'm ready to die right now for the country. Hands down. It's not even a debate, right? They will do whatever they need to do. So when I hear this from Santos saying that his dream is the World Cup, playing for Brazil, headlining for Brazil at the World Cup, of course. And when you look at the history that Brazil have at the World Cup, of course, he wants to be a part of that. 100%. But, of course, Chelsea's going to be the vehicle to get him there. But I'm sure he has his own club goals too. You don't think he wants to win the Premier League, the Champions League, especially the Champions League, because that's heritage. Of course he does, you know? And of course, playing in Saudi Arabia, chances are he's not going to get into the Brazil squad, and that is absolutely correct. Right now he won't, until when maybe the Saudi League steps up. So there's nothing wrong with this. Respect to Santos. It shows ambition because you also have to look at it from the other side of the coin, like I said earlier. With Santos, he could have easily gone and taken the money and you'd have been done. No, he's showing footballing ambition here. So young in his career, he knows what he needs to do. Saudi's not the answer right now, even if he was to get paid more. So respect to him. Respect to him. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Now, I've got something for you. If you're based in London, or you're near, or you're in the UK, or you're in and around the region, then you might want to go to this. Pay attention. So, there's a Chelsea Legends game, Chelsea versus Liverpool on the 11th of October. We've got Legends already confirmed. Joe Cole is the latest to be confirmed in this match. He will be featuring alongside John Terry. Alongside in this game, there's also William Gallas that is playing. There's Ramirez who is playing. And I think there's a couple of others that have already been confirmed. I'm not sure who, but there's more to be confirmed. Who's to be confirmed? We don't know. I hope, but listen, we need to do this, yeah? Especially Liverpool, because when it's Liverpool, you're going to get Stevie G playing. You're going to get all these guys, 100%. We need to get JT's playing. Cool. Can we get Czech? Can we get Lamps? And can we get Didier? All in the same team one more time, please. I think, come on, especially Chelsea-Liverpool. It was that spine that used to cause Liverpool loads of problems. We need that. We need that. So can we please, listen, I think the only ones left, realistically, are Lamps and Didier. Please, Lamps is in a job at the moment, which is difficult. But if you can just take one day off or something. Actually, the 11th of October, that's an international break. If it's an international break, mate, Lamps, you're free, right? You're free. Can we get the team back together again for this? I think it would be magnificent. But those are available to go and get now in terms of tickets. So if you do want, if you're in London, then you can go and have a look at the Chelsea Legends, you know, because this is when you get to see like JT in the flesh, you get to see these guys, Joey Cole, and come on, you have to do it. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to see it when they were playing. But for those that only got the back end of things, well, this is your chance to go and have a look in the flesh. So that's that. Let me know your thoughts. If you are heading to that game, if you are going to be going, let me know down below. Now, a couple of things elsewhere before we wrap up. PSG, a couple of crazy things that have gone down there for completely different reasons. PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi lambasts Juventus over the handling of the Randall Kolo Muani deal, saying, "You've been making fun of us for weeks. It's over. You won't win the case. I'll remember your methods. You can count on that." Sounds like something out of a movie. It sounds like something out of a film. Do you know what I mean? They were apparently meant to negotiate a deal, right, in order to get this done, because he was on loan at Juventus last season. And apparently, Juventus were not serious, right? And hence why, in the end, Kolo Muani managed to get a deal done to Tottenham. So he was available. Now we got Nasser Al-Khelaifi giving out threats to Juventus, going like, "I remember this. Yeah, I remember. You're fun and games. You think it doesn't connect? You think I don't know? I know. You're gonna pay for this. Let's see." I don't see how. Unless if, you know, something happens between Juventus and PSG. Maybe they meet in the future, Champions League, and then, I don't know, PSG tried to break all the Juventus players' legs or something. I don't know. But that's that. Now, on the other side of things at PSG, I've got to show this because I saw this and I was like, oh man, this isn't good. Here it is. Following a cycling accident on Friday, PSG head coach Luis Enrique was treated by the emergency services and will undergo surgery for a fractured collarbone. The club expresses its full support and wishes him a swift recovery. Further updates will be shared in due course. On a personal level, yeah, get well soon. On a professional level, you're missing a few games, mate. Because on a personal level, I genuinely think Luis Enrique is a good person. I mean, we see his whole story and what he's been through and his daughter and all of that. I mean, there's some really inspiring stuff there. But I also have to say, the way that he conducted himself after we smashed them 3-0 in the Club World Cup final, I was like, yo, I didn't expect that from you, of all people. You know? And he wanted to just fight everyone. We hit a nerve. We struck a nerve because Chelsea, PSG, I know they don't like us. They don't like us. Yeah, they don't like us. But they couldn't say anything on that day because we absolutely wrecked them in every single department. So Luis Enrique, I think, lost his head. Well, look, for this, it's away from football. Speedy recovery, and hope he gets well soon. And that's that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. Subscribe, notification bell on. Be here tonight for video number 2. We'll see how England do. We'll see how the others do. Germany got smashed. Nagelsmann said some crazy stuff. But we'll jump into the internationals. A lot of that later on tonight, where we get a massive roundup of all the results, basically, and how it's all gone down. So I will see all of you tonight. Have a good one, people. Look after yourselves. See you tonight. Take care and peace.